Bonjour tout le monde.
Good afternoon, one and all. It's an honor for me to introduce this CanBIM certification process for individuals, corporations, training schools, etc. I'll be explaining this to you in just a few minutes, after which there will be the certification ceremony information. This will allow you to have a better understanding of what the criteria is that has allowed us to certify individuals, corporations, programs, etc. I'm here as a representative of the Education and Research Committee, so to give you an update. First and foremost, there's some important news this year that following last year's work, Building Smart and CanBIM are getting in line as much as possible in order to offer criteria and benchmarks that are more coherent and more in line with what's going on an international level. So I'm going to talk to you about the Memorandum of Understanding that joins the organizations, that makes them closer. So progress to leverage. There are steps that have allowed CanBIM to establish a coherent frame for certification of individuals as well as organizations everywhere in Canada. I've left the trademarks in Canada up on the screen so you can see them, and they're in English. During the course of the year, CanBIM and Building Smart committees worked hand in hand on the development of national standards towards an integration of educational programs, all the while guaranteeing global relevancy for Canadian professionals in the field in harmonization with standards and best practices on the international level or the international scene. So we're talking about programs certification as well. So we wanted to work together in a collaborative fashion and we wanted to make sure that we would deploy all of our efforts towards a common goal of coherence and relevancy of training and acquiring skills CanBIM in Canada. The objective was to develop and sustain the training programs in Canada in BIM, aiming to establish criteria or reference benchmarks for higher education. Thirdly, the objective was to guarantee relevancy of what was being taught with respect to the programs, always with respect to the industry that is undergoing perpetual evolution. So that in and of itself is not easy. We constantly have to update the programs. Fourthly, but not last, series of clear objectives that both organizations can support in unison. So the idea is to have a clear framework that would allow us to define criteria that both organizations could support harmoniously and in a coherent fashion in order to answer the needs of both organizations, and that it be coherent on a Canadian level, but as well with Building Smart International on an international level and the different standards that exist around the world. So the CanBIM certification programs. The idea is to align the foundations of training for software as well as management. And this occurred as of 2015, after which there was the professional certification program in 2014 and certification for organizations level 1 in 2016, and afterwards for organizations or companies level 2 that is currently under development and it's slowly being transformed. I'll be speaking to that in just a few minutes. So first of all, we're going to talk about professional certification. I'll speak to the criteria. In the next few minutes, I'll be telling you about the criteria that allow for certification on different levels. And this is for the professional world. So there are several levels here. There's elementary, intermediary, experienced, or advanced. And the foundations, look at the bottom there, the theory, the software, as well as the management. So that's for the pre-professionals, if you will. Those people who are still in university or in colleges that are taking training, want to become technicians in a professional setting. So those elements are what needs to be part of their training in order for them to obtain certification. Then, on a professional level, those who already have some experience or have experience and training, there will be 4 levels in actual fact. A professional 1, 67 individuals who are certified so far, and professional level number 2, 137 people. After which there's a higher level, experienced. Professional level 3, 39 people have obtained their certification thus far, and advanced. So professional certified is what we call them, certified professional. 27 individuals as we speak. So that's pretty much what's been done this far, and it gives you a very clear idea of the different steps to be followed to attain complete certification. Now let's talk about corporate certification, if you will. It's partially developed at this point. First of all, we've got the following organizations or companies that are at level 1. That's automatically met when a company or an organization has a minimum of 1 certified employee at each of the 4 professional levels, CanBIM. So here, these organizations have attained that level of certification. After which, we have the CanBIM levels 2 and 3, who are currently under development, and for which we will be considering the following skills that we will be an articulate portion of the certification method. So you've got the company skills, certification level 1, company skills for the personal or staff training strategy and plan. Then you've got the internal facilitation, processes and procedures. After which we have the actual tools, strategies, as well as infrastructure that is used to implement BIM projects, compliance, methods, processes, and standards. And then you've got the internal assessment procedures that will guarantee compliance and validation of the quality. And finally, to certify an organization at levels 2 and 3, those projects that are completed and the case studies that were looked at in order to validate and to conduct analysis at a post-production level. What went well, what didn't unfold so well. So this is all of the criteria that will enter the certification criteria for levels 2 and 3 for companies. So the CanBIM training certification. So for these teaching institutions, independent schools or organizations that have their in-house training also. The objective is the following. There are several categories, courses and programs. Look at what has already received certification. I've left the logos in English. So those organizations have programs that have been certified in the last 3 years. After which those courses and programs, academic courses and programs, I should say, that are pending, if you will, so shortly evaluation is underway. These are the organizations that are in that category for whom certification is pending. And then the training providers and in-house corporate training. We call it in-house or corporate, as I just said, training, those 2 types of organizations. So for the external suppliers, engineering, construction, those private firms that offer training, and for in-house corporations, engineering, or what have you, architecture that have their in-house offering. So all of them here have some type of training and are being assessed as we speak. Or they have been certified, rather, I mean. And finally, you've got the training providers and in-house corporate training that will very soon be certified, SNC-Lavalin, etc. And those that are on the screen, there are some organizations that are preparing training programs that will allow to share the CanBIM knowledge throughout the company. And finally, there are several types of applications, processes, if you will, to help with this regard. There are 2 activities that have been announced this year based on the BIM Foundation, if you will. So you can have an accelerated or fast-track application that allows those individuals who are completing a program to obtain their certification very quickly at the end of their program, in as much as they're already in a program that has been certified by CanBIM in the past. Also, what's important to consider is that these training programs in Canada have been systematically reviewed by CanBIM in the last few years, so certification is very much up to date, so it allows for the fast-tracking aspect of things. As well, there's an integrated pathway in English, which means that there's a certification as the person goes along. If they're working on a bachelor's in construction engineering, students who are registered in a certified program have an opportunity to finish their academic training in order to obtain their certification at the moment of their graduation. So this allows for the encouragement of these employees in order to help them when they arrive on the labor force. It also allows to serve as an incentive to follow classes that are certified by the industry, on top of offering opportunities to all those individuals of obtaining a rapid recognition in order to answer the needs of the environment as soon as they begin their career. And finally, the objective of all of this is to reinforce the BIM ecosystem in Canada and to make it such that there's an alliance between CanBIM and Building Smart, that this could happen under one unique single certification. And so the association of both is in line with the emerging certification of Building Smart. So we want to take advantage of what has been brought forth by CanBIM to integrate the knowledge of Building Smart to come up with a knowledge that works beyond borders. So there could be instant recognition between both organizations and as well as the international scene. So we take advantage of what is vetted by CanBIM and the world recognized CanBIM questions. So whether it be at the national level or elsewhere, things can be coherent and easier to read for all organizations, all corporations. And finally, I'll be giving the floor to Monsieur Ferrari, and he'll be talking to you about the certification per se. Thank you very much. And now we'll give the floor to those people who just recently obtained their certification.
Thank you, Simone. It was interesting to see my presentation in French and done so well by Simone. Thank you so much for the help and the presentation of our programs. So we come to the end of the update on presentations for certification, and usually we finish it off by asking up those individuals that happen to be in the room to receive their certification. I'm happy to say that tonight we have one person representing 2 certifications. So we'll go through the list. So we have, as Simone mentioned, we have different levels. And for this particular round, for every round actually, we have a set of assessors who have achieved the highest level of certification, the CP level. And for this particular round, we have these 6 individuals. I believe George is in the room. Thank you, George. Thank you to our assessors. It is a process where the application is reviewed for submission compliance, and then it gets passed on to our assessors, and all selections for certification, all assessments must be unanimous from all assessors in order for the certification to be assigned. And today we're happy to say that we do have a few. From our, actually, if I could just go back, I believe, so we had 27 applications received for this round, 16 of which were issued after submission, compliance, and assessment by the assessors. So for our level 1, CanBIM Professional Level 1, we have 3 recipients, one from Turner Fleischer, one from Herald Engineering, and one from Global E-Training. I don't believe any 3 of these individuals are in the room, but regardless, we will transmit our congratulations to them metaphysically. Level 2, 7 recipients this time around. Listed there, you can see the names, CH2M Hill, Turner Fleischer, IBI Group, University of Toronto, Next Architecture, H.H. Angus, and we're getting a significant request moving forward from international applicants. And I'm happy to say that the last round, I believe we had one from Brazil. We've had a couple of from India, and we're starting to see a lot coming in from Spain as well. So we have one that he's not here either, but we'll send it to him. Level 3, we have one recipient, also from Turner Fleischer, Andy Young. And our last two, and one of which is here today, Gary McCauley is from Cassian Architecture, Interior Design and Planning, and Dominic Stateri is from SNC Lavalin. What I like to show about these applications as they are upgrade applications. So these individuals had previously received level 2 for Gary, and level 3 for Domenico, and they worked towards achieving the higher level of CP and gaining experience. So I believe all of them a couple years ago at the most. So within the time frame, they accumulated the additional experience, they submitted their upgrade applications, and made the step up into the CP level. So at this time, I'd like to call up a couple of people. First of all, I'd like to call up our ambassador, Danielle, if you would make your way up to present the certificates. Just over on the side down below. And if you could please join me in congratulating our recipient of CP. One of them today is Domenico Stateri, who made his way up to CP. Dominic. You know, earlier today, Danielle actually brought his father here this morning, and I was talking to his father, and he said that Daniel's little girl, who's 5, is actually as crazy as Daniel is, so I can only imagine what she will be like as an adult. Wait, gentlemen, don't go very far, both of you, all 4 of you. In achieving his CP certification, Domenico now is the 4th person required to achieve level 1 certification for company for SNC Lavalin. So with this CP, SNC now joins the other 5 companies in Canada that have achieved level 1 certification. So I am happy. Hello, you paying attention, guys? This is all about you, it's not about me. I'm happy to present SNC Lavalin and Domenico with the CanBIM Company Certification Level 1. Thank you, gentlemen. Congratulations again. Domenico, thank you for your attention and your time, and I will pass the microphone back to Sebastian.